we're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators.
No.
Look, I would take
her over it.
It's
horrible that we have to do that.
I could never vote for Newsom. I just can't. I would just say that his leadership in California is good reason to brush him off for the loser that he really is.
Gavin Newsom thought he was interested in a polite debate. Anna Kasparian then arrived with flamethrowers, a mixer, and a list titled Ways to Wreck a Governor. This was not only a comeback, it was a direct TED talk about public humiliation. There's a confident smile on his face. The next, he's secretly looking for a respectable resignation. The most ridiculous part is that Anna accomplished it without saying a word. This roast was something Gavin had never expected, but it was worth it.
Your car's gonna get broken into, okay? You're gonna get robbed. Using taxpayer money, funneling it to nonprofits so they can literally buy crack pipes and hand them out at Skid Row.
And
there's video evidence of that. Paying incredibly high taxes that go to what? So yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And honestly, just experiencing what I've seen on the ground in California has made me question a lot about left-wing ideology.
If you're enjoying this, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You'll be surprised at how much it helps. The day was just another perfect day for Gavin Newsom. The hair was slicked, the suit was spotless, and that flawless smile was prepared for the cameras. He probably even winked at himself in the mirror before he left. Anna Kasparian came next, not with a whimper or murmur, but with the silent fury of someone who has had enough of the golden boy of the West Coast. The same individual who plays the part of a progressive hero and makes friends with millionaires while ignoring urgent issues.
In 2014, voters in California overwhelmingly supported a ballot measure to support building more reservoirs in the state in order to bulk up our water infrastructure because we live in a drought-prone state. That passed in 2014. Funding was attached to it. You want to know how many reservoirs have been built since 2014? Zero. This state is an utter joke because of the people who are governing it. Gavin Newsom right now is at the top of that list.
To be fair, Gavin has been performing the political tap dance for some time. While casually signing a dozen more oil permits over brunch, he adds, "I deeply care about climate change." Showcasing his command of the centrist charm, he has made a name for himself as California's wind-drinking savior. But here's the problem. In fact, the grapes are rotten and the vineyards are burning.
This is what I was surprised about. I did not expect Donald Trump to flip 10 counties in California from blue to red. But I guess I shouldn't have been surprised about that either. Because when you look at the conditions that people are living in a Democrat-controlled state, well, yeah, you can understand why people are turning their backs on the Democratic Party. You can understand why people are frustrated at the corruption, at the loss of $24 billion that was allocated to help the homeless, when homelessness only exploded during that time, and that money is now unaccounted.
Then came Anna, who had clearly chosen political exhilaration over her morning coffee. The notion that Gavin was the golden kid of the Democratic Party has completely disappeared. He was instantly transformed into a vivid illustration of the importance of never underestimating a reporter who has been documenting receipts since your initial campaign slogan.
What would a President Newsom candidacy look like in a general election, not just pandering to the left?
Yeah, good question. He would sell out the American people to corporate interests, just like he did with PG&E, starting fires and destroying countless Californians' lives as a result of that. He bailed them out. He totally bailed them out. He has provided protection for them, even though they absolutely refused to update their century-year-old equipment, which everyone knew was going to lead to devastating wildfire.
Anna's intense, laser-focused anger was preceded by a smile, or maybe a slight raise of the eyebrows. She ripped through his polished image like duct tape and overburdened PR interns. It wasn't a tirade from her. It was deliberate damage under the guise of analysis. Insightful, devastating, and strangely funny. The cruelty was further heightened by her poise. Accurate analysis was more potent than any viral meme, yet there was no shouting or crazy gestures. Like a magician revealing all his tricks, Anna shattered Gavin's facade of concern for the working class. She made it impossible to see him by using the ropes, mirrors, and trapdoors. His futuristic attire couldn't compete with reality. The internet also sensed it, because there were others involved besides Gavin, it was about all the politicians who kiss babies on TV and issue eviction letters off-screen. Every leader who treats the populace more like cutesy photo subjects than like real people. When Anna sparked the flame, everyone realized they had been sitting on a pile of political kindling. The brilliance of it?
Gavin Newsom, in every single interview I've seen him do, has passed the buck, even though he is the governor of this state. Yeah. He is pathetic. He's a snake. He's like the slimiest Democratic politician, certainly on a local level. But what we have seen is mismanagement of epic proportions, and the mere existence, and it is real, the existence of climate change should not be utilized as a talking point in order to pass the buck, in order to deflect blame, in order to refuse to take any personal responsibility for how poorly this state has been governed for several years.
She didn't need a fight or dramatic antics. All she did was lay out the facts, draw the connections, and let the absurdity show. It was the political equivalent of a hard, icy slap, disguised as a TED Talk. Gavin, meet Karma. Her name is Anna, and she has come to talk about your hypocrisy. Now let's take a moment to admire Gavin Newsom's political aesthetic. He is the one who makes an effort to win over everyone. A leftist hero on MSNBC. Remember when he bragged about California being the nation's green energy leader? Cute, but he didn't address the countless drilling permits that were approved while he was in office. The high-speed train that is more rhetoric than substance, and the way his passion for the environment appears to fade the minute a tech lobbyist walks in the door.
Can I curse? I don't know if I can.
Please,
Okay.
you must. It's a necessity.
So, Democratic establishment candidates are full of shit. And I need people to understand that. And we need to get out of this like vicious pendulum swing cycle where we go from one terrible administration to another terrible administration. They just have different branding. But in the end, they do nothing for ordinary people. And that's what people are hungry for. I think that's part of what explains the popularity of Zoran Mamdani in this mayoral race in New York City.
Anna wasn't being critical. She was exposing a pattern. The renowned Gavin Shuffle was a smooth ballet of audacious, forward-thinking words and subdued action behind closed doors. Voters might notice the minor differences that Anna missed. She had receipts and the loudest megaphone in the room. The most cruel part was that she targeted more than simply his policies. She targeted the mindset, the belief that outward appearances are more significant than integrity. Because as long as you seem confident and use terms like equity, no one will look into the real source of equity. Be advised that it is not present, nor did Gavin have any defense. No lightning-fast comeback, no great tweet, no emergency press release that didn't sound like it was hastily written by an AI bot and 3 interns. Anna's takedown was much more audible due to his deafening silence. Because when someone drops truth bombs with poise and calm strength,
a native Angelino. I was born and raised in California. I love my state. I love the people in this state. But it is an absolute wasteland right now. Every freeway bridge is full of people living in tents. There's excrement on our sidewalks. It's unsafe. Crime has gone up. And when it comes to coronavirus, I mean, the fish rots from the head down. Let me just mention,
there are only 3 possible reactions: denial, fear, or pretending you didn't hear them. Gavin's decision to go with option 3 was not supported by the internet. It hit the replay button over and over. On Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, and pretty much any other website where people like a good public humiliation, videos of Anna's takedown went viral. Memes surfaced, reaction videos flooded in, and even cautious political commentators started quoting her. I mean, if I repeat Gavin literally, I risk short-circuiting her entire media team. Let's be honest. He got it coming. Not because he wanted to, but because he has seen his position as a launching pad for a presidential campaign rather than a chance to deal with urgent problems. California is not where he is running, but he's been able to turn it into a huge Instagram background for his political transformation.
Oh, I'm sure he really does find it funny. He's not bothered by it at all. You just heard the bitter statements of a snake who unfortunately serves as the governor of California. Some like to refer to him as Gavin Newsom. I like to refer to him as a smarmy failure of a politician out of the state that I was born and raised in. Nonetheless, Gavin Newsom was fighting hard to be the guy who stepped in to replace Joe Biden if he dropped out of the race, of course.
That is if to say, oh, you thought no one was looking. Anna sat there in the interim, that no one paid attention to the expensive fundraisers, the policy tweaks, and the carefully thought out photo ops that had exactly the proper amount of diversity to meet a criterion. She made sure the others took note. Anna didn't yell, throw anything, or even raise her voice. Rather, She went after something much more: dangerous sarcasm and anger-fueled reasoning that was cold enough to power a Tesla. Anna Kasparian conducted what amounted to a career autopsy on Gavin Newsom's political persona, pure and live. She didn't use emotion to attack. It was an intellectual contest. She dissected his paradoxes like a White House intern destroying papers on a Friday afternoon. She denounced the hypocrisy of a governor who professes to be progressive yet is neglecting universal health care, tenant protections, and the homelessness problem. He promises to rig each election. One harsh paraphrase said, "You can't manage a state like a Netflix trailer."
He's so cool and relatable in his genes, and but like from between Cuomo and Newsom, these are actually two really good examples of people who represent the Democratic Party establishment who have not fully reckoned with their unpopularity during the COVID crisis and are now sort of trying to be as powerful as they were before without, I don't know, maybe actually even being seriously introspective as opposed to whatever the hell that was.
You're absolutely right, okay, in your analysis. And let me just say, you know that I like you when I'm willing to sit through a podcast episode featuring Gavin Newsom just to prepare for this. Okay, because I can't stand him. I can't stand his raspy voice. And it's not for any superficial reason other than the fact that I live in California. Mm-hmm. I've had the displeasure of experiencing what his leadership actually looks like.
Great promises that never come to pass. Then came the real critique of Newsom's political cowardice. According to Anna, he has all the ambition of a presidential candidate but lacks the backbone. His values are set by the polls, the media, and the donor class. She was implying, leadership isn't about timing your values. The secret is to really possess some. Even a governor might have wanted to hide beneath his 1,000 suit after hearing the scathing scolding since it was so cool and accurate. Showmanship and yelling were absent, and the internet became popular. Reddit was lit up like a Christmas tree with threads tagged "Anna nudged Newsom" and went supernova, keeping it real. Even moderate pundits cited her. As far as Gavin was concerned, crickets. Not a single word, not even a subtweet that was passed. The silence in his office drowned out her mic drop. There was only a tactless quiet that pleaded for one thing. That one pain without any pretense or explanations. But here's the twist. It wasn't all drama. It was a reckoning. The media-trained polished elites on the left and the unapologetic truth-tellers who express what others won't were torn apart by this episode. Anna reached out to others besides Gavin. She attacked a whole generation of Democrats who run their administrations on the fumes of hedge funds, yet make promises of hope. She wasn't just holding him accountable. She demanded better, louder, and significantly less hair gel from all of us. The base is not calm.
And now some are noticing, look, he's not really doing the type of campaigning for Kamala Harris that he was doing for Joe Biden. What's going on here? Now, of course, we all know what's going on. Newsom was engaging in that campaigning not for Joe Biden's sake, but in order to increase his name recognition in case he found himself in a situation where he'd be tapped to replace Joe Biden after he drops out. Now, Newsom went from campaigning hard for Biden to barely campaigning at all on behalf of Kamala Harris, so much so that Democratic operatives are now questioning whether his role as a national surrogate for Harris is really something they can lean on. They're questioning if it's even a thing.
The public no longer trusts the polished brand because the internet has gotten too good at fact-checking in real time. Anna was harsh and ruthless, cutting straight to the core of that irritation. Gavin's aspirations to becoming president seem to be evaporating in midair. He is attractive, ambitious, and has the donor list. However, after one of their own criticized him for not living up to the hype, progressives may no longer back him. Why did the discomfort get worse? The validity of Anna, it would never be within Gavin's budget. She's shouting, not from the sidelines. She is someone who is completely conscious of the identity he is adopting, as the smoke clears.
This job has been so difficult because he's dealt with both the COVID situation and unemployment and wildfires and racial justice issues all in the same year. And he's sort of done the best that he can in trying to deal with all these. What specifically, Anna, from a policy perspective, would you like to have seen him done differently versus what he has actually done?
First of all, I'd get real aggressive about building housing immediately, right? Putting porta potties under freeway bridges for homeless people to use is not a solution to this problem. I would also find ways to ensure that businesses have the, economic relief necessary to remain stable throughout this process. So if
One thing is clear, Gavin Newsom will survive. Politicians do it all the time. However, the harm to his reputation and that flawless modern package cannot be undone by even his well-known hair gel. Anna dominated the internet, not simply won it. She made the definition of true political responsibility widely known. It doesn't make noise. It is not conspicuous. In addition, it is definitely not pax. It's brutally honest, razor sharp, and done without being polite. The next time Gavin brings his trademark sneer to the microphone, maybe he'll pause for a second. Do you recall the day Anna Kasparian decided to test his complete brand rather than just examining him? The verdict found him guilty of performative progressivism. One long, uncomfortable pause, no concluding remarks or defense, and a permanent mark on the CV of a man who thought that looks could be more important than content. Spoiler alert, not at all.